What's up, everyone? Criddle here, and we got another update. This one's not one you're going to be writing home about, so don't drop everything you're doing and jump into the game. It's just mostly going to be adjustments to the classes and then a big change to readiness, which we will talk about here in a minute. Another thing that I want to talk about is in the previous patch, they accidentally opened up Ash Breather's Cave. In this patch, apparently they closed it back off again, but during that brief time that it was open, people were able to go and check it out. And the Ash Breather Cave enemies, at least in the beginning of it, are very much like the Osharuk enemies, where they're going to be dashing around and doing their flurry attacks. At least that is what I'm told. I did not get a chance to go over there and check it out myself, but it was available for a short amount of time. Hopefully that means that Ash Breather Cave is coming in soon, but I really hope that all of the enemies in there aren't just rehashes of all of the previous enemies that are constantly doing things like their Ravage and Flurry attacks. I'm tired of seeing that. It is done too much. But here we are, so let's just move on. Hopefully we'll see that coming in soon. Here under the general, we got two new things here under the graphics tab, or actually one under the graphics tab, one under the general tab. So it's show ability visual effects and show in-game combat text. So these are now toggle on or toggle off. It is all on or all off. I'm hoping that this is a change that will be added to in the future, where we can say, I want to just see all of my effects or maybe all of my group's effects, but I don't want to see everyone else's effects. That would be a really nice change coming. So right now you can toggle this on and off. The show in combat world text is the text that floats over an enemy's head when you do damage to them, or a debuff or a buff or whatever, that text that appears over their head. So those can now be toggled on and off. There's also a header in the social window list that allows you to sort things in columns by name, class, level, those kinds of things, which is a nice change or a nice addition. And then we have a new punching animation as well. And then we added new facial hairs for the human male. Yes, facial hairs, not just one hair, but all the hairs, these guys. Anyway, so I'm glad that they are adding in some of these things just to add a little bit more life to the game and differentiate your character from a different character. It's really nice that we are now starting to see some of that, and I can't wait to see more of that, because most characters running around, they really honestly look the same. So it's good to see some of that coming in. Offensive and defensive target windows can now be adjusted with their scale and opacity by holding down Control and right-clicking on them. So check that out if that was something that concerned you. And then moving on here to bug fixes, readiness wasn't regenerating during gathering resources. So that would have been a very big deal with the current changes, which we're going to go over here in a minute. Fix collision with a wall piece in How Near Cave. I believe that goes along with these keys right here. So over in the Black Rose area of How Near Cave, you had to have a key to get into or through that gate. Beside that gate were two walls that you could just walk right through. So if you didn't have the key, you just walk right through them. There was no need to have the key. Now you need to have that key in your inventory and not just in the bank, and you can no longer walk through those walls. I believe that is what was fixed. If something else was fixed, please let me know. Fixed issue with weather transitioning at night, blowing fog color out until the transition completed. I remember back when I used to complain a lot about the fog in the game, and a lot of people were like, why do you hate the fog so much? I love the fog. I think the fog is great. This is why I didn't like the fog so much. This is part of the reason. I actually like the fog in the game when it's done properly. The problem is with the lighting and how the lighting was working in the game, it would often cause these issues where during these transitions from night to day, or in certain other areas of the game was just bright blue. In this case, it would turn bright white, and just my entire screen went white. I'm glad they are recognizing these issues and finally fixing them. Hopefully we continue to see these kinds of fixes going forward to where we don't have to worry about the fog anymore, because like I said, I do like the fog the way it is. Moving on to classes, there's a lot of things in here with classes. I'm not going to go over every single bit of this, but I do want to talk about this one right here. Removed readiness gains for taking or doing damage and weapon style adjustments to readiness gain. Increase base readiness regen by 3 times. So what's going on here is previously you would gain readiness for, I think it was 45 readiness every time you took damage. You would get 133 readiness if you did damage with a single-handed weapon, and 200 readiness if you did damage with a two-handed weapon. You no longer get any readiness from any of those things, and the weapon adjustments were what I just talked about. And instead, you're now going to be gaining readiness every 3 seconds at a normal rate all the time. And it's going to be 3 times what it was prior to this patch. So last patch, they added that in, and it was about 150 readiness, something around there, every 3 seconds. Now you're going to be getting 3 times that. So 450 or whatever, maybe 500 readiness. I don't know exactly, but that's going to be what you're going to be getting every 3 seconds now. With this said, I've said it many times, I personally think that they need to just remove readiness from the game and at the same time remove techniques from the game. At least remove both of those until they figure out what they want to do with them and make them the way they want to work. I personally feel like both of those things are just overcomplicating the game for absolutely no reason, and it's not making it fun for anyone, especially when we're getting changes every single week, and in some cases completely breaking classes because of it. So it's very annoying to have these changes. I think they should just remove them completely from the game. That would be my preference. Going over here, we have a lot of adjustments, including the techniques using strength modifier. But this is the next thing that I want to talk about. These techniques using strength modifier, you have these these abilities here that now got their damage increased, are using a constitution modifier. And then as we know, clerics want to have wisdom to increase their mana pool and I believe increase their healing. So they need multiple stats. And we're getting to the point now where every class is starting to need 4 or 5 different stats. If you go down here to the rogue changes, I'm not going to go again through all of these, although the buffs or the damage was increased in all the dot damage, which is really nice to see for the rogues because they needed that. But what I really want to call out are down here, these toxins that they craft. You need to have different stats for each different toxin. So this one's going to scale with agility, scale with stamina, scale with intelligence, scale with strength. They already need dexterity in their build because everybody needs dexterity. So you can see how they already need now 5 different stats for the rogue. I know that paladin also needs like 5 different stats. Everybody's needing like 5 different stats. And with the way the itemization works in this game, that just does not work. That may work sometime in the future, but right now it's just making it unfun for everyone else. I don't know why we can't stick to a 1, 2, or 3 stat system. I understand not having the 1 stat maybe, but a 2 or 3 stat system per class I think is perfectly fine and balanced. But now we're adding in all these other things, and it's just going to end up making people find that perfect meta build eventually, right? Right now it's probably not, but sometime down the road, if they stick with this, people are just going to find that perfect meta build, figure out exactly how much stats they need, and they're just going to build this exact character out. It's not going to solve any problem. It's just overcomplicating the inevitable, which is going to be some meta build anyway. That all said, they did reduce the essence cost of the Dire Lord, which is nice. They reduced the delay wounds readiness cost to 1,000. I believe that got jumped up to 2,000. Same thing with the Locust Swarm here, was jumped up to 2,000 on that previous readiness thing that they did. And then some other adjustments to classes here because you can all go over and check out. Another thing about the readiness gain is the readiness generation for the writ line was adjusted to 10, 15, and 20% here on Cleric, and then also down here for the Warrior to 5, 10, and 15%. So basically because they increased the readiness gain to 3 times what it was every 3 seconds, this would have been an insane amount if they would have left that the way it was, which I believe the Writ was like 40% at the higher level, and then the Warrior was like at 30% at the higher level. So you could see how that would significantly increase that. They also call out here that the Cleric's line, Writ line, does not stack with the Sturdy Tactician line, so do know that. Another thing that they did not call out previously was the Warrior AC debuff, armor class debuff, goes up to 40% on an enemy. There's a Rogue armor class debuff that does not stack with the Warrior, and in fact, the Rogue one overwrites the Warrior one, but the Rogue one only does 35% armor reduction. So something that they need to fix. I don't see a fix here, but we'll see if we get that in the future. Moving on down here to crafting. This is the best crafting thing that I've seen in a while. Please let me know if it works for you all. I haven't tested it out personally myself, but players may now undertake level 1 to 10 crafting work orders for all professions. They also earn unique crafting schematics by doing this. So go out and check those out. This is something that is much needed. I think an entire crafting overhaul is needed, but this is a step in that direction. Down here under gathering, they got some new gathering nodes in Wild's End, which to much rejoice, I'm sure, for a lot of people. And then down here in audio, this I thought was kind of neat. They added new sound effects for some cleric, druid, shaman, and wizard abilities, and added some new night music, added new music in Wild's End, and some music changes in Eastern Plains. So go check those out at your leisure. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!